We are live. This is where you say good morning.
Oh,
You're on.
we're on. Good morning. I'm looking at the computer, which is kind of turned in an odd direction. I keep trying to get to the right place, and it's crazy.
Hey, we're here. Good morning, everybody. Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day. I hope you all have something planned that's going to just honor all those veterans that we have had or in the past that have helped keep our country free.
Absolutely. We are going to try to do this without Tony. So
I'm a little nervous. Josh seems to feel very comfortable.
we're all right. Tony's going to jump on and watch, but please let us know if you can't hear us, if there's no audio, if anything looks wonky. Just let us know. I'll be watching right here. So I think we're going to be good to go, though. I'm confident, Joann.
Okay.
All right. So where to start? Okay. Happy Memorial Day. This is the last day of our Memorial Day super sale.
Okay.
We are open today from 10 a.m. Well, regular hours, 10 to 5. We're here. And so is our scissor sharpener. So it's the last day for the super sale. And you've probably seen me harassing you on Facebook about all the fabric sales and all the machine sales. And honestly, I love. Okay, we've got Tony doing a clap. So Tony, there we good? Good, thumbs up. Okay, I think she would have probably let us know if we weren't.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
I
feel
love
better
when
now.
people come in and take advantage of sales, because certain times we're given pricing that we can kind of pay forward, and it's always nice. And I'm like, I don't want to be harassing about it, but I'm just going to keep telling people until they take advantage. So
yeah, you don't want to miss the opportunity.
No, but also it's just been fun in the store. We've been doing a lot of new classes, and people. It's graduation week, or it was. Last year, it was so quiet.
Really?
And so, yeah, and there were a couple days where it was kind of quiet, but everybody goes to see grandkids and family graduate. Sure. That's a big deal. But last week was super busy, and I was like, Memorial Day weekend, everybody's going to be gone. So I can't figure you guys out. I just can't do it.
Maybe it's just because the shop is getting a name that says it's a destination. Come here.
I love that. We're going to go with that answer. That's what it is. All that hard work is paying off.
That's right.
Well, we're having fun. So it is the last day, and our scissor sharpener, he'll be here probably 9:30ish. We open at 10, and I think I put like 3:30ish. He'll usually stay until there's no more scissors for the most part. So bring him in. If you can't hang around and wait while he's sharpening them, you can drop them off, and we'll call you when they're done.
Okay.
And he does everything except saws. So pinking shears, absolutely bring him in. I don't know time frames, so that's kind of hard to. People were asking, like, how long would I plan on waiting? I have no idea, because we don't know how many people are going to come in.
That's right.
But you could always leave them, like I said, and then we'll call you when they're done.
Yeah, I'm planning on bringing in my pruning shears, and I'm thinking my Karen K. Buckley scissors are getting kind of dull, and I'm hoping he can do those.
Yeah, and so in theory, what you were saying that you only should sharpen one side.
Yeah, you
because
don't
of the serrated edge.
Right, but you can still sharpen the other side, which I think would be good.
Fantastic. Bring in your kitchen knives and anything else you got. Throwing axes came in last time. Good morning, Carol. Good morning. You can do it. Thank you, Tony. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Irene. Okay, so Memorial Day sale last day, which is exciting. Scissor sharpening going on. Genomes are in. I would have brought the big guy, but honestly, it's just too big. It is so big and so awesome.
I have to look
it's
at
too
this.
much. So I brought this, and I think yeah, you can see that in the camera. This is a bad mamma jamma, is what this is. So bag makers, anybody sewing through thick material, doing denim. This machine is a tank. It's super fast. It's a straight stitch. It would be great for free motion. I can't wait to play with this more. I threaded it up because it is not a computerized machine in the sense that it's kind of the old school threading. Very easy to thread. At first, it was a little, just want to make sure, think about what I'm doing, but actually it got super easy, or it was super easy, and it sews so nice. So I'm really excited about this machine. And if you're not familiar with the HD9, come in and just play with it. It's awesome. And we got a lot of bag makers, so I'm hoping that you all will come in and at least take it for a spin because it's really impressive.
So one of the things that looks good about it is if you happen, totally unrelated to the machine, if you happen to be one of those people that likes to use cones, it looks like you can easily use a cone on the back here, the way it supports the thread.
Well,
absolutely.
Really nice.
Nice.
In fact, I love it when a machine has the thread stand either with it or it comes with it, that, as opposed to like buying the little one that sits on the side. So you can use the larger spool. You can use any spool on this. It's awesome. And it's fast, strong. I think it's awesome that it's black. They do have it in white as well, but I think the black series is really, really cool. And more than anything, since we've been doing so much bag making and sewing on like cork and that faux leather and stuff, I really am excited to see how this does and what people think. Yeah. So they're gonna love it. It's awesome. And we have I got to be careful. We don't have the entire Janome lineup because our store's not big enough, but we got a lot of them. And I'm just excited to be able to offer all you Janome people the support and all that other good stuff that comes along with being an authorized Janome dealer. We are obviously still a baby lock dealer. We love our baby lock. We love our baby lock people. That's not changing at all. We're just offering Janome as well.
And I have heard in the past, I don't know whether it's true or not. I used to have a Janome which sewed very nicely, but I've heard that the stitch on a Janome is almost equal to the Berninas. So if you're thinking, oh, I'd love to have a Bernina and I just can't afford it, take a look at the Janomes. It might be a good option for you.
There's just as much metal. The main difference is Janome's easier to use. I hate to say, I'm not gonna pick on Bernina because everybody knows I do love Bernina, and we're different. Depends on the year of the Bernina too. The older ones are totally different than the new ones, but
true.
They're equally as durable. They cost less and they're easier to use. That's all I'll say. Yeah. I still love Bernina. Don't get mad at me.
And the Berninas do have a learning curve.
They do. And if you take it, look, if you got a Bernina, go to the class and then you'll be good. That's all I'll say. People will buy it. They go home and they're frustrated. I'm like, take the class because it is different. But anyway, we're not talking about Bernina. We're talking about Janome.
That's right.
And baby lock. But we love everybody. Seriously. I always joke about Bernina, but they're great. So, but Janome is in, let's see, what else did I got here? Let's do this. So we got these in, I don't know if the camera, I can look in real time. If you want to hold that up just a little bit closer. This is it's just marketed brilliantly. It's so stinking cute. And if you'll flip it on this side so they can see, it's a quilt kit.
Is that the cutest thing?
I know. And I love the box, the packaging.
That's right. It's awesome. And you open it up and I guess everything's in here too.
Yeah, feel free.
Okay. I have to think of something like this. So all the fabric is in there that you need along with the pattern. And oh my goodness, it's just too cute.
It is so cute. We just got these in, so I wanted to share that with you guys. Also, we are going to have a Halloween in June. And I think the fun name was something along the lines of Spooktacular.
Oh, yeah.
June Jamboree. I don't know. Halloween in June. It's going to be awesome. And we just got this. You don't have to hold it up. It's all right. Fun new Fright Night quilt kit. Amongst many, many other things Halloween related. We've got some samples in the works. We've got some samples that are finished. And I got a ton of Halloween fabric. And I'm super excited. So Christmas in July is still on. We love it. But we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have Halloween before Christmas, the way it should be, so that you can come in and get all those Halloween ideas in the works and get done by actually.
That's right. I think it's a great idea.
Actually be done by Halloween. What a concept.
What a concept.
I know. Everybody wants to do it, but it is what it is. So I'm really excited about just really cute all the new Halloween stuff. You guys know I'm a Halloween junkie, and I hear that there's some Halloween fanatics as well. I'm going to test you and just find out where you're at and who's going to actually come out, because I'm going to keep bringing in the Halloween as long as you guys keep coming in for it. So
should be fun.
Yeah, let's see. Linda, I love my new 6700. Congratulations, Linda. You were the first person. Literally, we opened the door. She came in and bought a Janome like the first day we put them on the floor. So she kind of had an inside scoop, but still, it was awesome. So that machine is phenomenal. Good morning, Sam. Wish I had a monster truck enthusiast. Very cute. Fair enough. My son is a monster truck enthusiast. Good morning, Pamela. All right, cool. So excited about that. Excited about this. Sales, scissor sharpening. Tula Club is the first Saturday in June. Queen of Diamonds, block of the month. Demonstration class thingy. Tony, this is where we need her.
That's
Starts
right, so you get
also
the real name.
Yeah, same day, right? The real name. So if you did purchase a Queen of Diamonds, it's coming out to you June 1st. Or if you're picking it up, you can come into the store on June 1st and get yours. Okay, that's the end of my notes.
Okay.
We can go home. We're done.
No.
Okay. No, but I will stop talking and we're going to get to the good stuff.
Or the other stuff.
Or the,
So anyway, one of the things I was really excited about, and I hope to have more quilts to show you today, but this is the last class that the last quilt that the Friday class did. And my quilt, you may have seen it, it was hanging up. It was just okay. This quilt is awesome, and this was done by one of the people in the class. There are a couple others that hopefully I'll be able to show next week, but they were, every one of them was just beautiful and just really fun. Everybody was really happy with the outcome, and this is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. And so I will always poke my head into the class. And what I love about your group is, they've been with you like for a year now, which is great. So I've been able to see them grow. But when you walk in, the exact same quilt, every single one looks different because they have such different tastes in fabric. It is so cool. And I'm drawn to purples, of course, but I absolutely love this one. And I loved all of them. I liked the ones that I didn't think, like, before I saw it put together, I was like, those are not my fabric. Yeah. But they look great together. They all did really cool. They were
all great. There was one that was done with 5-inch squares, charm packed. Yeah. And so it was very scrappy looking, and and hopefully I'll be able to show that next week. That was just, to me, that was amazing. And then there was one, because I just would never have thought of that. And then there was one that was more neutral colors that was just so peaceful and restful looking. They were all great.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Well done, ladies.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, today I was going to talk about the bad habits that we develop as quilters. And bad habits kind of come about because for one of a couple of reasons. One reason is you just don't know any better. And the other is because I think we're geared towards speed and wanting to get done. And I'll tell you, there is a quilter in Southern California that she's nationwide and worldwide, and that's Eleanor Burns. She's been she's in the Quilting Hall of Fame, and she's an amazing woman, an amazing teacher. Very well known. Yes. And she was a teacher of special ed before she became a quilter. And that gave her the unique ability to see things in such a way and make them easy. And so, yes, her first quilt was a log cabin that was made in a day. And I actually took the class and made that quilt in a day, and it was pretty cool. But after that, the majority of her quilts are not made in a day. But so the thing that really bothers me about the whole thing is that name, Quilt in a Day, because we all have this feeling of, okay, how come I'm not done? My day is over and I still have all this fabric that has not been turned into a quilt.
Right.
And so we have this idea that we need to work really fast. But the problem with that is that every quilt is a journey. And the journey starts when you get that idea of, oh, I want to make a quilt for my grandchild. Oh, I see a quilt that I really like that I'd like to make. Whatever that spark of inspiration that starts that is the beginning of that journey. And then you pick out your pattern, and then you go for your fabric, and you start looking at designs. And if you're geared towards speed, you don't get to enjoy all the different steps that come along with a quilt. So
enjoying the process is important.
Enjoying the process.
Yeah, totally. And don't rush. There's no need to rush unless you've scheduled yourself a little short. Like if you're doing a Halloween
Like you're doing a Halloween
quilt and you
in
don't
September.
come in June.
That's right. Exactly.
Perfect.
So that being said, my encouragement is to slow down and to really look at the process. So some of the things that that I've seen as bad habits that I encourage people to change is one is the idea that something is close enough. Is the 1/4 inch seam close enough? Yeah, it's good enough. Is the, are the colors close enough? Yeah, they're close enough. Instead of looking for that, making sure that those things are really good. Well, I wanted to, so I encourage you to kind of really look at the 1/4 inch seam on your sewing machine and making sure that that is a 1/4 inch seam. There's a lot of things in quilting that are totally up to you, that you can make your own decision. You can go off the, work outside of the box all you want. 1/4 inch seam is really kind of important because that's how you're going to make sure everything kind of fits together.
I'm super guilty. The little bit of piecing that I have done, I'm such a shortcut taker, and I want like immediate
gratification.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm like, well, and I am bad about, it is close. And then at the end, I'm like, it just doesn't look that great. It's not, why did I spend this much time?
Yeah.
All I had to do was take 2 seconds
to check that out,
to adjust.
And
so it's not like you're asking,
No, and it's such an important part. And, the problem is fabric's expensive. Your time is valuable. The person that you want this to go to, whether it's yourself or someone else, is important. So you want to take that time, and that's just a small part. That's a small thing to really perfect.
It's a good point.
Let's see. The next thing that is a bad habit is sewing over pins. And I brought this to show you what happens when you sew over a pin. And can you see that? You might not be able to see it. It's a little pin, and it pretty much makes a check mark where my sewing machine hit it and hit the pin.
Basically, is that white? Here, hold it up in front of that. It's all bent up. It looks like a run over pin.
Yeah, and this was a particularly thin pin, so it really didn't damage anything. But if that had been a little bit heavier and I hit that pin with my needle, it could have damaged the bobbin case or the bobbin, or broken the needle and all sorts of bad things. So you really don't want to sew over pins. And if you do, like I'm working on something right now where I just don't have enough hands to get the pins out before I sew on them. If you are committed to sewing over pins, then you want to sew very slowly over the pin so that if it does hit it, it'll just slide off the side. It's not gonna damage your machine or break the pin or any number of things.
Yeah, I mean, so on that, there's a lot of people that I have worked with in the past, and part of their demonstration to show a durable machine like a Disc-Janome or a Bernina, for example, is to go, oh, look, you can run right over the pins. It's not that you can't. You absolutely can, but the chances you're taking, why?
Yeah.
So you're going to ruin the pen for sure, but the smallest little snag on anything that thread touches is going to cause your tension to be off. It's going to pull your thread, then your needle's going to break. It's going to cause problems. It just is. So I don't care if your machine can technically do it. Just don't. I do not like using pens. It's part of the reason I probably will never actually be a traditional piece quilter. Give me some spray or something. I don't know. Again, it's the shortcuts. I know it's so simple to pin and then pull it out. I mean, I do poke myself a lot, but it's not even that. It's the time that it takes.
Yeah, I think pins are very unreliable. If I can have a seam pinned and I'll go back after I've sewn it and it's pinned and the fabrics come together like this, they're not meeting up. They were meeting up when I pinned them, but they're not your friend. And so I tend to use them as little as possible. Some people use glue. Some people use those clips, which are very nice.
Clips, yeah. I can see that. Those are right.
Yeah, those are nice. There's just some places where a pin works, and you just have to be careful with them.
Yeah, I get it. And Tony's right. It can dull the needle. I mean, that's the most obvious one, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It dulls your needle. Okay, the next one is not pressing. And whenever I'm teaching a class, one of the things I always say is never sew over an unpressed seam. And it was really obvious to me this weekend. I was kind of working on a quilt where the seams were really thick. And when I pressed them, it really flattened out those seams and made it easier to nest the seams together. It made it easier to sew over them. The pressing is just such a big thing. The other thing is when you're cutting fabric, when you go to cut your fabric, you want to make sure your fabric is pressed beforehand too, because all those little wrinkles and creases and waviness, you get rid of those. When they're still there, it causes you not to cut as accurately. And once again, the three most common places for mistakes to happen is pressing, sewing, and cutting. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, so I think this all sounds like it keeps going back to slow down.
Yeah,
Take your
exactly.
time.
Take your time, enjoy the process.
Right. Put in some tunes, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Enjoy that. There's something to be learned in every step of your quilt.
Good point.
The next thing is leaving off a label, and I'm really some of these next ones are things that I'm just really guilty of. I rarely label a quilt.
And you mean like on the back, an actual label, like when you're finished?
Yeah.
Oh.
And labels can be anything from something very simple to being something a little bit more complex. It can be really big with a poem written on it and all sorts of things. But it's important. It's part of your legacy, part of what you will leave behind. That quilt most likely is going to last longer than you will. And it's nice to be able to say, for people to look back on that. So maybe your grandson, maybe you made a quilt for your grandson and now he's grown and he's having children of his own. And that's a quilt that maybe they'll hang on the baby's room, or maybe, it will be passed on. A little label on the back of it is really important. One of the things that keeps me from doing a label is this. This was going to be my label. You can see that it's a lamb. My last name is Lamb. I thought, oh, this is going to be so cute. I'll make one of these. When I finish making a quilt, I'll do the borders in whatever I made the quilt in, and then it'll go on it. Well, it takes me like 3 hours to make this.
It is so stinking cute. It's worth it. Enjoy the process, Joann. make a bunch. One day you're just making labels, and you're gonna have a stack of them. It's so cute.
So anyway, I made one, and then I made this one. This one actually hangs in my sewing room,
which is also cute.
It has a frame on it. I've never made another one because they just take too long. But there are lots of easy ways of doing a label. And actually, in the next, I think either next week or the week after, I was going to do my little time will be spent talking about labels and going over that. So I'll share that with you later. But really change your thinking about the importance of that label on your quilt.
That actually, yeah. In fact, even if I think they sell pre-made labels. It's still, if you don't want to take the time to make it, it's not going to be as cute as that. But that's a good point. Just simply slapping a label on there with your name, date.
Exactly.
So, that's cool.
Yeah, something that just said, it kind of says, I was here.
Well, you find it, someone finds it in the closet or the garage years later, and they're like, who is it? Oh, how special is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool.
And there are stories. The majority of quilts do not get labeled, I don't think. And there are stories about quilts that have been found in antique stores and in, let's say, California, and it will have a label on the back, and it will give the person's name and the year she made it and where she made it. So there are some where they were made here on the East Coast, but they ended up in the West Coast. And how did that, was that part of a move that they made, a travel that they made? You learn a little bit about history, you learn a little about your family. There's a lot you learn from those labels. So it's important to label them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The next thing is not planning your quilt. And, if you're working from a pattern, you think, oh, I have it all planned. But one of the things that you can do before you start, we tend to buy our fabric and we have our pattern and we come home, we open up the pattern. The first thing that does is it tells you to cut all your fabric. So you cut all your fabric and you go to put it together and you think, oh, I hate these colors together. So,
Right.
or this is a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Maybe I'm not ready for this. Or, there's some things going on here that I don't understand. The best thing you can do for yourself is to take the time to make a sample block. And that gives you the opportunity to evaluate the colors that you're using, make sure you really like them. It gives you the opportunity to really examine the process that you're going to need to make that block. Maybe there's an easier way to make it than what the pattern says. Maybe there's a section there that's a little bit more complex and you're going to have to slow down for that. So there's a lot to learn from making that little sample block. And so there's an old saying that goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Oh, that's good.
So it gives you that opportunity to really plan and be successful with the quilt you made. Now, let's say you make that block and you don't particularly care for it in the quilt. So put it in a frame.
There you go.
Hang it in your sewing room.
Keep your scraps. There's always something.
There's always something you can do. But you do that before cutting all the rest of your fabric, so you know in advance what you're going to do.
Sam says, I now do that for classes. I may decide I don't want the whole quilt for some reason. Mm-hmm. It's a good point.
Yeah. Another thing, and this is a huge thing for me because my sewing room always looks like a bomb hit it. But working in disorder, and it's so much easier when you finish quilting for the day to just kind of get everything organized, cleaned up, things put away. I do try and organize and say, okay, tomorrow this is what I want to accomplish, and I make sure everything is all ready for that to be set aside. If I'm going to starch fabric, I'll do it the evening before. If I have a certain block I want to work with, I'll organize all that fabric so that it's all right there. But working in disorder, you end up spending a lot of time looking for stuff instead of actually quilting. So
it also just feels good. You go into your space, especially if it's a quilting room and your fabric's all nice and you don't even want to mess it up. You're like, it looks like a little showroom.
That's right.
But you when your workspace is nice and tidy, you tend to get more work done because you feel good in that space. Mm-hmm. And it's easier to find stuff.
Yes.
It's very simple. That makes total sense. But
that's absolutely true.
I love going into the room after I've cleaned it and going, okay, now what?
Yes, and that makes your sewing space your happy place.
Yep.
And
it's actually, not to segue too much, but it's why I push sewing cabinets so much. Mm-hmm. Because if you have a good workspace, if it's set up the way you sew, mm-hmm. whatever cabinet that is with the storage, you're more prone to you're going to sew more. Mm-hmm. Because you love being in your space, you're comfortable, it doesn't hurt your back, everything is set for you. Right. It's like your personal command center.
Great point.
And truthfully, people who have the ergonomic, advantages of the cabinets will sew for longer periods at a time because mm-hmm. they're not in pain.
That's true.
And that just goes to organization and getting your space the way it's mm-hmm. designed for you.
And that's a great point. And taking that time to really look at your sewing space and evaluate. Yeah. Is this working for me? Or do I need to move something around? Do I need a sewing center sort of thing? What do I need here to make this efficient and comfortable and fun?
Yeah. Do you need a cutting station mm-hmm. on your right or your left? Mm-hmm. How do you sew? Do you have a serger? Do you need the little table that sticks out so your serger can be here in your machine? Everybody sews so completely different, but that's why there's a bazillion cabinets, and it can be overwhelming. Step one, measure, and then really think about, this goes back to just planning mm-hmm. and being organized. Think about what would be your perfect ideal setup, mm-hmm. and then do that.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. I like that.
And good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are the things that I saw in myself that were bad habits that I've either encouraged people to change in themselves, or I've worked on changing in my own practice. In order to make establish a new habit, the biggest thing you can do for yourself is make it easy or make it fun. So like one of the things that I do is I use a stiletto when I'm sewing to make sure that the seam stays perfectly straight all the way through. Well, when I chose a stiletto, I chose one that I really like to hold. because it feels good. And so it's, making sure that the tools you're using are things that you like to use, and that will help you establish that new habit. So you want to make it easy. So in order to change the habit and start doing a label, I have to make it something easier than this little lamb.
Oh, I hate that. I would love to see that on the back. Although I get it.
It is.
You're finishing a quilt, and now you're going to go make another mini quilt for your quilt.
That's exactly it. So Henry Ford once said, "It is only a mistake if you don't learn from it." And so don't worry about making mistakes. That's another bad habit. We look at what we've done and we think, oh, it's not right, it's not perfect. But just learn from what you've done and move on. And don't worry about the little mistakes that you may see as a mistake, but aren't really. And just really enjoy the journey of your quilt.
You quote Ford, I quote Bob Ross. Happy little accidents.
Happy little accidents. It's another good one.
Well, you do. You learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what. Well, and so all of these bad habits or things, take a class, because it's a. If you know you're not going to be able to push yourself to make the changes, taking a class, you will kind of do the steps. Because someone's literally going, okay, do this now.
Mm-hmm.
But also other people are doing it, and it's that sort of like really positive peer pressure to go take your time and do the steps properly.
And classes really help you to enjoy that journey. You get to know the people in your class. It's a fun place to be. It's fun to be with the other people. You accomplish something. And
I'm super biased, but our customers and now friends are the best. Like, seriously, I love coming into our classes, and just everybody's so friendly and happy, and it just makes the shop so, I don't know, alive and warm, and exactly. I absolutely love it. So
exactly.
Those are fantastic.
Okay.
Good tips.
That's my
I think that's everything. Record time. Just in time, because I think the scissor sharpener is pulling up, so we're going to help Fred and Elaine get in and get set up. We're here all day, 10 to 5. Scissor sharpener could leave around 3:30ish. So give us a call if you think you're going to be cutting it close, or if you need to drop off your scissors. Not a problem. Bring them on in, and we'll call you when he's done. Other than that, happy Memorial Day, and have an amazing week.
Have a great day.
All right. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions or anything. I don't think I did. Nope. You were so thorough. No one has any questions. Well, now we don't have Tony to cut off the thing. So you guys have an amazing day, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Actually, we'll see you later today.